G-Squizzle, what's happening with y'all, baby? Listen up, Mercedes sent your boy Tall got that brand new spanking new 2025 G580. So I'm gonna tell y'all what it's like living with this thing, the good, the bad, and of course, everything in between. So let's get to it. You know right off the bat, we got to talk about the G-turn feature, because that joint will literally spin on a drop of a dime, literally and figuratively. This will do it, and it will just keep on spinning. The wheels on the bus go round and round, around, here that. You know what I'm saying? And most people are probably buying this SUV in the EV fashion just for that feature as a flex, because I don't believe the combustion engine has that. You can only get that on the EV SUV, no pun intended. So that is a top level feature, but at the same time, if you big Captain Planet, save the earth brain, and you want to be one with the feet in the grass with the socks off and big cheed up in the grass, and you want to take care of the planet and recycle bin and never throw it in the trash and never mix the two, this is the SUV for you because it is electric. It is made for off-roading because you can literally spin this joint on a drop of a dime and get out of a sticky, tight situation better than you could with the regular G-Wagon, obviously, because it don't got that feature. But most of the time, let's be real, 99.9% of people are going to use this on the road and never use it off-road. And after you show a couple of your partners, a couple of your homeboys, and have a few little spins in this joint, get a little woozy, get a little nauseous in this thing by, being on this because you're a grown-ass person in a roller coaster, essentially, because that joint just be spinning you around like, oh, getting big woozy. Once you do that a couple good times, you're good for the rest of your life. And I haven't used it for the past week that I've had it outside making the content for this video, but it is dope. It is a top level feature, and that's what everybody knows. It's kind of like the Hummer EV3X, how they could do the crab walk, and how that was like the staple and like its claim to fame to the public, and everybody buying it, and everybody wanted to show that off. And I also reviewed that EV3X in the 5-minute format and what it's like living with, so make sure you check it out. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe, hit this thumbs up. But now let's get to talking about the next thing, because I had to talk about that one right off the rip, of course. Now this next thing is something that I was not expecting in a G-Wagon, but I love it a lot, and I've used it in the past week. I've had this SUV a lot, and so has my wife. In fact, we got one in there right now with the Stanley Cup, so let's get some understanding. These cup holders are both heated and cooled, and when I say they get cold, they get cold-coated. When they get hot, they get hot. These joints literally have an ambient lighting integrated within the cup holders too, so it always lets you know which one is on, so you ain't never mistakenly hitting the wrong button, because in case you don't want your hot drink cold or your cold drink hot. This armrest in the center console for both the driver and front seat passenger, plush and top tier on that extra cushiony elbow. In case you ain't got that extra skin on the bottom of your elbow right there, like your boy. I've been in the gym, getting them gains and losing weight and all that good stuff. So I love this armrest because it's wrapped in leather, and it can be both open and closed individually or collectively. So that way you ain't never got to disturb the passenger whenever you want to get something out of there, and the passenger don't got to disturb the driver whenever they want to get something out of there. And there's a vertical upright standing phone mount in there along with a USB-C charger, and there's an abundant amount of space, and it opens with a push of a button. So I like that a lot, so I had to talk about that. I believe, and I could be wrong, I've seen a lot of steering wheels in my time, but I believe in Mercedes, this is definitely my first time seeing a two-tone in color leather steering wheel. The steering wheel looks damn good, looks like a piece of art. It's also heated. So you got to understand it has the practicality with also the flair of exuberance on that thing. I don't even know if I'm just making up my words, but I'm just gonna say it to sound a little bit more elegant. I'm just gonna make up something that make me believe that I sound rich and wealthy. It gives the prestige bouginess of illusion of wealth and artistic form. Let me stop playing, man. I just like the way this joint look. I ain't gonna lie to you. I like the two-tone leather, and it's heated, so what's not to like about it? So I had to mention it as a like, and what I like living with it since I've had it for the past week. There's a lot of manufacturers that will put like Alcantara on the steering wheel, leather on the steering wheel, two-tone leather, but mainly Bentley is the main one. Bentley be having some top-level steering wheels, but this joint got a little extra feng shui on it, and I like that. I ain't gonna lie. Now, next up, let's talk about these climate vents, because not only do these joints look top-tier in design, but they also got ambient lighting integrated within them in both the front seat and back seat, which is top tier. Now let's talk about the ambient lighting, because you got so many different colors to choose from, and y'all tell me if I'm wrong or right in the comments, man, because I'm ready to argue about this one. I don't think there's nobody in the manufacturer game that has better ambient lighting than Mercedes. I'm gonna say it. Do y'all agree with me? Yay or nay? Get active in the comments below. I think Mercedes not only was the pioneer to it and made this like a popular thing to do in cars and SUVs, they're also still the best at it all these years later. And I honestly don't believe anybody will ever do it better than Mercedes in the ambient lighting world. Y'all get active with me in the comments. Now, y'all know I am hypercritical of sound systems, especially the sound systems that are in SUVs or cars that cost $100,000 or more. And since this costs $100,000 or more, I'm going to be hypercritical of this sound system. And I have nothing bad to say about it, in case you thought I was about to say that. This sound system, the Burmeister sound system in here, is top tier. You'll be in this joint going stupid. You ain't going to want to get out. It's going to be hard to beat the sound system of the Burmeister in Mercedes, because these joints are just top tier. And I mean, I've never really heard a bad Burmeister sound system. I'm keeping it real with y'all. So it's like between the sound system, between the ambient lighting, between the luxurious interior and amenities in this thing, you got a real fire interior cabin up in this joint that really set the vibe whenever you're driving around this joint. And that is very important, to have a sound system that matches the vibe of the environment of the interior cabin when you're driving in the whip. Because ain't nothing worse than getting a luxurious car, pardon me, with all this top level features and amenities, and it feel like a vibe. And then you turn that sound system on and it's wah, 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 just big weak, man. And trust me, I've gotten some luxurious cars that are like that, and I hate when that happens. So I got to talk about the good stuff when it does happen the opposite way, because once I hate something, I'm going to be very vocal about it. But when I love something, I'm also going to be just as vocal about it. And I love this Burmeister sound system in this G-Wagon. Mercedes, keep it up. That was a great job. Another thing that I've really been liking since I've been living with this Mercedes G580 is this digital gauge cluster, because the infotainment screen looks just as good simultaneously as the digital gauge cluster. They both got a high resolution, look really good, and have a modern design. And they're super intuitive and easy to use. But this digital gauge cluster in particular, I like a lot in the understated digital layout that you can choose from, because you can choose different colors within that layout, and you can also transform to match the infotainment screen vibe to match the digital gauge cluster vibe, which I like a lot. But you can also transfer the digital layouts on the digital gauge cluster from understated to sport, classic, navigation, assistance, off-road, and service. So you got a plethora of choices to choose from whenever you want to set the vibe up in this joint. And it, like I said, it transfers over to the infotainment screen whenever you need to do that, to set the ambience and set the vibe in here a little bit more, giving you a little bit more of a bougie, prestigious feeling, which is super important when you're paying this kind of money. Next up, let's talk about these back seats, because although they are nicely designed, just like these front seats, go with the top tier understanding, and the back seats are also heated, whereas the front seats are both heated and cooled for the driver and front seat passenger, with massaging seats in the front with 8 different types of massages. The seat design and comfort is out of this world. I rock with them heavily, even though my leg room is not the best when in the driver's seat. Now, granted, my knees are like a millisecond away from scraping on the steering wheel, and sometimes they do, all depending on my feet positioning, or if I'm sitting big upright, big obtuse with the angle in my half Caucasian side. If I'm on that now, my knees are hitting that steering wheel. But if I'm slouched down and I'm on my half black side and I'm riding with a little lean and with a little swaggeroo in there, then I'm all the way good. But not when it comes to leg maximum capacity. See, I'm just making up stuff as I go as far as how I'm demonstrating my leg room in here. I cannot straighten my legs out like this. They're always bent like this. So I don't know what I'm trying to show y'all here, but just look at my elbow. Pay attention to my elbow, people. All right, right? It's always like this while I'm driving. So if I'm driving like this, I already got knee problems. I already tore my ACL, my meniscus, and my MCL in my right knee. After a long period of time like this, and then I go to get out the SUV, my knee is stiff and it's hard for me to straighten it out. That's what I deal with when driving around this SUV every single day. I wish I can straighten my legs, but granted, I am an abnormally tall, light-skinned, half black, half white avatar, so I get not understand it's not made for everybody. The back seat is no different. My back seat, leg room back there is horrific. I'm not even gonna lie to you, but my headroom is good in both the front seat and in the back seat. But my leg room, I cannot stretch out in the back seat, front seat, or nothing. But what I do love about the back seat is the fact that you can recline those back seats, and you can lift up the buttocks area, fold the seats down within that, and if you know, me and my wife take lots of road trips on the other YouTube channel, pardon me, I'm getting my words mixed up, Love and Slim. Make sure y'all go subscribe. You'll see all the road trips we did, whether it was in Europe, whether it was in America. We've done a whole lot of them. So I always pay attention to the road trip ability. See, I'm just making up words as I go along with this. Road trip ability attribute. This does have it because you can lay down the back seats. There is a little slant from the back seat to the trunk, but you can make something shake with that joint right there. So I do like that about the back seats, and the fact that the back seats can recline, and all 3 headrests in the back seat are also adjustable. So I do like that, and it is worth noting that the ones in the front seat are mechanically adjustable through your actual recliner seat motions, and there's memory seats in the front two seats with 3 different options of memory seats. Although, here's a caveat, they're not real memory seats, right? You have to press and hold this button. You don't just press and the seat does the rest. No, that's real memory seats. But they do have memory seats where you gotta press and hold until your seat gets back in a position, which is pretty much the same thing you would do with the actual seat adjustments. So I don't see how that's real memory seats, but hey, tomato, tomato, right? But like I said, they're heated, cool, they look good. And if you get that Barrett's Automotive pristine leather conditioner, they'll look even better by Barrett's Automotive. So click that link below in the description and get your leather conditioner and take care of your leather investment, just like your automotive investment, because your leather is integrated within the automobile. So you got to get your leather investment. So get your Barrett's Automotive by clicking that link below in the description. By yours truly, we'd greatly appreciate it and support the campaign. Thank you very much. But one more thing about those back seats, I do like the fact that those back seats also have a trap door integrated within the armrest back there. Because you do got an armrest back there with 2 cup holders, which is nice. But through that, you got access from the trunk to the back seats, even though you technically don't need it because you can just go right over the top of the seats. But there is a retractable cargo divider in the trunk. So if that is retracted back to where you can't get in, then that's where that comes in handy really good at. So something good to just note, and I've used it since living with it. So I had to talk about it and I was like, hey, I like that. So guess what? I talked about the things that I like and what it's like living with the G580. Now this next thing I'm about to mention as I like is a very peculiar thing, because I don't think I've talked about it in other SUVs or cars, but I think nothing stands more true than in this one, and it's the hanger hooks. Because when you have hanger hooks in a sports car, hanger hooks in a sedan or SUV, but there's no ceiling height, you know, I kind of can't understand that, because if you go to hang some up like a suit or your woman's dress or whatever the case may be, or all the women out there who are watching this review that want a G-Wagon, you might have a fly, nice dress. And for all the fellas out there that might got a nice suit, they want to just head to a business meeting, they want to keep that joint irony, crispy, fresh, like an inmate out of maximum security prison that's going on a visit. Don't ask me how I know these things. I just know these things. Then you might want to keep that joint crispy. So every time you hang something up in a car that doesn't have high ceilings, then it's gonna just get wrinkled, because it's gonna fold on the seats, whether it's in the front, whether it's in the back, or whether it's in the trunk or behind the seats in some sports cars. But this one, I gotta mention as far as what it's like living with, because even though I didn't hang up a suit in here in particular myself, I can say that you can hang a suit up in here in the back seat or trunk without it ever getting wrinkled, because your ceilings are so high that whether it's a dress or it's a suit, it's gonna remain pristine and prestigious, just like pristine Barrett's Automotive leather conditioner. Click that link below in the description and get yours. I just had to drop that line in there while I was talking about so much prestigiousness and pristine, and I can't talk about those 2 things without talking about Barrett's Automotive. Get your Barrett's Automotive by yours truly, man. We'd greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much. But these hanger hooks are really high, and you got 4 in just the back seat area alone, along with 2 more in the truck, making it a total of 6 hanger hooks in this SUV. So it is practical when it comes to hanging up some wardrobe, some clothes, for a photo shoot or whatever the case may be. So I had to talk about that as far as what it's like living with it. Now this next thing I like is something that I don't think I've ever seen on any car SUV that I can remember to date as of right now. Anyway, I've reviewed lots of cars. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe, click the thumbs up. It helps with the algorithm and pushing these videos out there, because my team and I, my wife and my dog Farid, we put a lot of work into these videos. So we'd greatly appreciate it if you hit that thumbs up and you subscribe if you're new to the channel, or if you're an OG supporter to the channel and you unsubscribe, make sure you resubscribe, baby. Make sure you hit that thumbs up. If you ain't, stop subscribing, man. Keep hitting the thumbs up on all these videos. We'd greatly appreciate it. It helps with pushing these videos out there with the algorithm. Like I said, we put a lot of work in, so that would be really appreciated and we'd be grateful for that. So thank you very much. But what I like, and like I said, I haven't seen in any other car SUV, is on the door handles outside this SUV, on the exterior of the whip, you got a little faint embossed type engraved, but it's not really engraved, it's more embossed, but it's within the door handle. On the push button, you got a G for the G-Wagon. I like that. It's on all 4 door handles of this SUV. And I also like the G on the door sill that illuminates at nighttime in both the front and back doors. And speaking of the G, let's talk about more of the G's for the G Squizzle. You got a G, that ground illumination that projects from the side mirrors on the driver's side and passenger side anytime you open the door, or when you don't even open the door and it's just nighttime, it's just reflecting everywhere you go as you drive in this SUV, which is super legendary and nice. So I had to talk about that as what it's like living with it, because that was legendary enough. Something I noticed since living with it. So I had to talk about it, baby. Now, the last thing I gotta talk about when it comes to likes and living with the Mercedes G580 is gonna be the fact that, and I mentioned this in my 5-minute review format in the first car review I did since coming back into the game almost 2 years ago. I've been reviewing cars for almost 2 years now, which is crazy to even think about in just reviewing straight cars. Now I got some more game coming for y'all real soon. Y'all gonna like this a lot. I'm bringing a little sprinkle, a little vlog back. So make sure y'all just stay tuned for it. If you watched this video, then you caught that first giblet there. The vlogs are coming back. And while speaking of vlogging, one thing I was doing while having this SUV and vlogging in it was the fact that you can see your blinkers integrated on top of the hood. So at nighttime, you'll never forget to turn off your blinkers because you literally see it right on top of your hood. So you go, oh, my blinkers on, boop. I like that a lot, and that's the last thing I gotta talk about when it comes to light. Now, let's talk about some of these dislikes, because that's what some of y'all here for. Y'all wanna hear the negativity about this SUV, don't you? And I already mentioned the first one I didn't like, and it was the fact that this SUV doesn't have real memory seats. That's my first dislike. And it's always gonna be the first, for the most part, for any other car SUV I ever get in, if they ain't got real memory seats. If you can't just press the button and the seats do the rest, that ain't real memory seats. Sorry, hate to be the one to tell you, buddy. I do not like the fact that every single time I start up this SUV, I literally have to go into the driver settings to turn off the lane keep assist and the driver collision. Because, we getting rolling shots in this. Sometimes we might be following closely for, rolling shots or this shot or that shot. And I just don't like having to do that every single time I get into this SUV, because sometimes I forget. I think since I turned it off once, that I don't got to go back and turn it off again. And then I always got to do it. And then while I'm driving, it doesn't let you do it. So then I got to wait till I get to a light or to a stop sign, hurry up and try to do it before any cars get behind me. And it's just too much. And I just wish I didn't have to do that. So I got to mention that as a dislike for sure. Now, let's talk about my last two dislikes. Let me straighten the shirt and get the wrinkles out of it to tell y'all this one. Why does the back windows not roll all the way down flush into the door panel? Like, check this out. It's automatic down and up. But look at this. That's it? That's all I get? Come on, what if I got a dog? You know what I'm saying? What if there's grown-ups sitting back there? You can't even properly get the swaggarian out you and put it on there because it's too discomfort up back there. You know what I'm saying? I'm mainly more towards thinking about dog because I always think about our dog Zeus, RIP Zeus. If you follow me and my wife's YouTube channel, our dog passed away not too long ago. Top level, most pressing canario you ever see in the history of life. He never liked when the windows didn't roll all the way down. He had a big old bazooka head. Big grenade launcher head. And there would have been drool all over the windows and he wouldn't have liked the window there. So I always think about that from just a dog owner's perspective. But if you have kids, maybe you wouldn't mind that. I don't know, me and wife don't have kids. We just had our dog. And at the same time, if we did have kids, I'd want them to sit out there with the elbow proper like this and just be chilling out there like, hey, Pop, you see what's going on? Just share a little conversation. Even though they might be 2 years old, they might have full dialect by that point because it's a different breed and we got different type of anointing on us from God. But they might, listen up, man, I'm not even gonna get into all that because I'm either talking too fast or y'all listening too slow. But either way it goes, I do not like that the windows do not go flush all the way into the door panel like the front ones. Why can't it just go all the way up and all the way down just like that one? The sun visors, I like them. They're wrapping Alcantara, pretty nice. But when you open them joints up, they got the pissy yellow LED light bulbs, but they are LED, but they got the pissy yellow snowball lights in the sun visors. And I'm not gonna lie, I just can't understand that. It's in the roof lights up here, it's back there. It's just like, why? It's such a nice car. It's even in the trunk area. They're LED, but they the pissy yellow LEDs. Why can't I get the bright white LEDs? And the sun visors don't extend. They do detach. I just would never understand that. Why do you not think I want the sun blocked out of the windshield, but not on the side of the window? That's just my thoughts, man. But y'all let me know if y'all agree with me in the comments below. We've talked about some of my likes. We've talked about some of my dislikes. Now let's talk about some of my neutral things. Not a love, not a hate, not a like, not a dislike. Neutral things. And one of the neutral things in this SUV is the fact that you only get about 250 to 270 miles of pure electric range and understanding. For some people that might be really, really bad, and you might be like, that is absolutely horrific for almost $200,000. And you wouldn't necessarily be wrong. But for the people that's out there that want a G-Wagon, they want it to be an EV, and they don't drive more than 200 miles in a day, and they got a charger at their house, it's not a bad thing at all for them. This actually would fit their lifestyle pretty perfectly, honestly. So it just depends on where you're at in life and what you got going on. Because if you got a gas car or electric car that gives you over 300-400 miles of range, and then you got this as a second car, you're gravy. It doesn't even mean nothing. You get to just have this in your city to city driving and you ain't never got to worry about nothing. So I just had to mention that as far as a neutral thing that I want to throw out there for food for thought. Now my next neutral thing is gonna have to be the fact that this SUV gives the illusion of practicality. Practicality is all perspective, right? Based on where you're at in life, how many kids you guys, is it just you? Is it just you and your partner? Whoever you with, what's going on in your life? Do you carry things a lot? Do you tie things on your roof? Do you have your storage always full in the back? It just depends on where you're at in life. But to me, in my life, the G-Wagons have never been that practical to me, whether it's in room as far as leg space, because my wife's 5'9", 5'10". If she sits in the back, she's not that comfortable either. My dog Farid can't fit that comfortably in the backseat either. He's like 6 foot. So you gotta think about that. So it's like, and I'm abnormally tall at almost 7 foot. I'm 6'10", you know? So it's like, it's not that practical, honestly. And I'm just being honest as far as leg room in the front seat, back seat. But headroom is cool in the both because of the high ceilings, and the trunk area, it's good as far as cargo space height-wise, but it doesn't have that in-depth of a trunk, and it don't got that much width either. So it's like, it does, but it just depends on what you got going on in life. I think for the people that really want a G-Wagon, get the G-Wagon. You can't go wrong if you really love the G-Wagon, because there's nothing you can cross shop this with. There's nothing that's just like, the G-Wagon is a one of one. So it's like when you're shopping for a G-Wagon, and it depends on what tax bracket you're into, you're pretty much trying to decide, do you want a regular G-Wagon? Do you want a G580, G63 G-Wagon? Do you want the 4x4 or 6x6? You know, it's like, because there's no other SUV built like this one with every little thing pound for pound. So it's like, there's not much automotive competition out there for the G-Wagon. So it's just something, a little food for thought I wanted to throw out there. Is like, they look practical, but in all actuality, for me and my lifestyle, they're not that practical. But if y'all got G-Wagons, let me know if you think it's practical for you and what you've been living with. But for me, and every time I've ever been in one, they're just not that practical. They look dope, they feel dope to drive, you know. I mean, they're cool, you know, but they're just not that practical, honestly. So that was just a little something I want to throw out there for a little food for thought for y'all. You know, hope y'all agree with some of the likes, some of the dislikes, you know, some of the neutral things. Y'all let me know what y'all think. But either way it go, that's everything I got to talk about when it comes to the new 2025 Mercedes G580 G-Wagon for the G-Squizzle, man. And if you big G-Squizzle, hit that thumbs up. And like I said, if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and stay tuned for all the legendary videos we got coming y'all way. And please make sure y'all click that link below in the description and get your Barrett's Automotive car wash products, because when you talk about top of the move, you can't even mention top of the move without talking about Barrett's Automotive. So always know that. Click that link below in the description and support the campaign. Stay tuned for all the next videos we got coming y'all way. I'm out. You did.